Today, Game Freak announced a revival of their 3DS eShop game, Pocket Card Jockey. This was released in 2013 in Japan on the 3DS and iOS, as well as 2016 in America on 3DS, and they've just announced a revival of sorts for Apple Arcade, which is releasing on January 20th, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On. Now, this was actually trademarked about a month ago, but I completely missed that. Interesting to see this game come back, and I thought this would be a good time. I'm doing all these 3DS videos to finally play this game. I remember when it came out, everybody was really hyping it up, and I just never got around to it. It didn't really seem like it was my flavor at the time. I think 2016 was, well, I think at that point I was kind of giving up on 3DS for a little bit there, to be completely honest with you. So I kind of missed out on this as well as some other eShop games during that period. But I remember hearing absolutely great things about Pocket Card Jockey, and for those that don't know, Game Freak doesn't really do much outside of Pokemon. If you're looking at the title of this video, you're like, oh wait, what? They made a game that's not Pokemon. They do this from time to time. It's not super uncommon, but it's also not the most common. The last game they did that wasn't with Nintendo and Pokemon was Little Town Hero, which released back in 2019. And of course, we have other stuff that are on Nintendo platforms. Well, Little Town Hero was, but also like Giga Wrecker Alt, which came to other platforms, and Harmonite, which was a 3DS eShop exclusive. And Pocket Card Jockey is just another one of those franchises that Game Freak has this little team, this little like indie-sized team within their studio, I guess, that just toils away at these more download digital eShop, smaller scale projects. And I actually really like this. Of course, with Pokemon, they don't really get a chance to flex their wings at all. So it's nice to have something within Game Freak that lets them try to be a little bit creative. And I think Pocket Card Jockey, having not played Little Town Hero, though I heard bad things, Pocket Card Jockey is probably their most creative. While Harmonite was actually really good, now that I've played a couple hours of Pocket Card Jockey, it's really unique. So I had very little knowledge of this game until I played it in terms of what the gameplay was. I knew it was solitaire, I knew it was horse racing. I didn't know what kind of solitaire. To be honest, I had never even heard of this type of solitaire, golf solitaire, which is really interesting. But then this horse racing aspect mixed in. Playing the game for the first time, I was a little surprised by just how much exposition there is and how much tutorial there is. The game is pretty simple, but I feel like they didn't do a great job of like just putting you in. They keep talking to you, this high off your horse or whatever the hell this character's name was. They just keep talking to you, and it got really annoying because the game is simple. You play solitaire, you rack up points, you stay in your comfort zone during the race, rinse and repeat. And there's obviously a couple additional, caveats applied there, but for the most part, you're just playing solitaire and drawing a line. But I don't know, that first hour of gameplay, they just would not stop talking. And I will say, I didn't expect this, especially from Game Freak. The writing in this game is actually pretty good. It's very quirky, it's very jokey. The art style and just like the tone of the game definitely reminds me of Rhythm Heaven, which always a net positive. So yeah, that's definitely something I wasn't expecting. The writing, although the tutorials got kind of annoying, the writing is actually pretty funny. I like how your character, the whole plot of this game is your character wants to be a jockey, right? But he's terrible at it. So terrible, in fact, that the horse he tries riding in the first race kills him, or almost kills him. And then the angel, the main mentor, kind of comes in and is like, okay, what are you good at? What do you like doing? Your character's like, oh, I like omelets. And then he's like, okay, how about solitaire? Which I just think is a really funny setup for an eShop game like this. I think it was $7 on the 3DS eShop back when it launched in America. So let's just talk about the game now. So Golf Solitaire. I had never heard of this. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a solitaire master. I played regular solitaire on my Windows computers back in the day, like Windows XP or Vista or whatever. And I also played a little bit of Spider Solitaire, but that was pretty much the extent of my knowledge. Golf Solitaire is really interesting and really fast-paced, which lends itself perfectly to this game. Basically, you're just constantly doing, I want to say combos almost, with your cards. So the way it works is, and hopefully the footage on screen can kind of demonstrate also, you're constantly connecting numbers up or down. So you can connect a 3, a 4, a 5, then a 4, then a 5, then a 6, then a 5, then a 6, then a 7, 6, 7. You can keep comboing it back and forth. They just need to be in some sort of consequential order, be it lower or higher. And this just allows these really satisfying combos to take place, basically, which then boosts your horse's energy and stamina and their enthusiasm. And it's just this really nice gameplay flow. Of course, during the races, you can get XP boosts, you level up your horses. There's this whole horse raising mechanic that, admittedly, I haven't gotten too much into at this point. I only played like 3 or 4 hours, and I imagine, I looked at how long to beat. It says this game's like 20 hours. I don't think I actually got that far to be honest, because as we'll get to, this game is really hard. But yeah, there's all these different mechanics at play here beyond just the base Golf Solitaire. But it's all pretty simple, like I said. I just think the game maybe didn't do a great job explaining it. But yeah, the difficulty in this game. So this game did release on iOS in 2013 in Japan, and I was curious if I was just not good at the game, so I did some research online. I read like Nintendo Life's review, and I felt very vindicated because I was like, okay, I'm not just bad. I didn't misunderstand something. The game just is kind of unfair sometimes. So you get your horses, and you breed them, obviously, and you keep raising them, and eventually you keep leveling them up. Eventually they level up to a point where they get retired, or you basically can't increase their stats anymore. But pretty early on, which is where I'm at, you know, you can't really inherently pick your horse or like make it better just flat out without just grinding, basically, which definitely that alone feels kind of gotcha, or not gotcha, but like mobile monetization-esque. And there will be times in races where I do great. You know, I'm staying in my comfort zone. I'm doing great with my solitaire and my speed and how fast I'm solving these little solitaire things. But then there are other races where I do just as well, like in terms of my gameplay, but I'm simply just put against other horses and other jockeys that have way better stats, and I can't do anything. So there are definitely times where this game feels very unfair. Despite that, it's never not fun. This game is always fun. And maybe once, if I played it, you know, for that full 20 hours, I would maybe get a little bit tired of it, a little bit repetitive there. But just from what I played, it's just really addicting. The flow of this golf solitaire, I feel like this is basically a golf solitaire review, which is crazy. The flow of this gameplay is really nice. There are times when you lose, and I'm like, am I even actually making progress? Because, like, you'll go into the next quest, or, like, the next cup race or whatever, and if you lose that, they're like, okay, you lost that one, but here's the next one. I don't know if I'm even making progress at certain points, I'm going to be completely honest, because typically in games like these, I feel like I should be winning every race, but I know statistically my horse is at a disadvantage, and I know there's literally no way I could have won. So in that aspect, in terms of being a little just unfair, or just steep difficulty curves, I guess, it definitely feels like a mobile game, which I think we can tie it all back down together now with the new version that's coming to Apple Arcade, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On. I don't know if this is just a remake. It looks to be just a remake. They redid everything in 3D, and I'm sure it'll have some nice microtransactions. Or actually, I guess Apple Arcade games don't really have those, do they? Either way, it's really cool to see this game come back. Of course, this is being made for one screen. I would love to see this game come to Switch, or even other platforms. I mean, anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it came to Switch. Maybe next Direct they just shadow drop it. In fact, not to get speculative, this could be a good sign of maybe when there's going to be another Direct. If this is coming out January 20th, we do normally get like a January, February Direct. Maybe it's being released in time with that. Who knows? But yeah, super cool to see Game Freak trying this game out again. I hope it does well for them, and I hope they put it on Switch and it does well there, because I think there's a lot of potential for something like this. I will say the 3D graphics in the new version, I mentioned earlier that I think the game is kind of like Rhythm Heaven-esque, at least in terms of its art style. You know, it has those super thick lines. I feel like it kind of loses that a little bit, that charm when you translate it to 3D. It now just looks like one of those bad Harvest Moon games that have come out in the past several years, you know? Maybe that's a little harsh because those games are absolutely abysmal. But I don't know. I feel like it loses a little bit of that artistic charm moving into 3D. I mean, this is an issue a lot of 2D franchises have, right? With that like flat 2D art into 3D. I feel like it loses a little bit of personality. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But yeah, Pocket Card Jockey. It's coming back. Cool to see Game Freak reviving something old that I did not think they would do. How about Harmonite next? Just an idea, because Harmonite is easily the best non-Pokemon game they have made. Not that I've played it in 10 years. Maybe I'll do a video on that, going back to that game. But Harmonite was fantastic when I played it back in 2013 or 2014. So I would love to see either just a Switch port or a sequel to that game. That would be awesome. Haven't played Giga Wrecker Alt and haven't played Little Town Hero. But now I can safely say that Pocket Card Jockey is, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I'm excited that they're bringing it back. So let me know in the comments down below. Have you played Pocket Card Jockey on the Nintendo 3DS? Are you going to check it out on Apple Arcade when this new version releases in a couple weeks here? And yeah, of course, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Until next time, folks, subscribe here for more Nintendo 3DS, Switch, Wii U, all these things, collecting content, and follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, all that fun stuff. Until next time, folks, bye-bye.